Hello again. I thought I would take an opportunity and do some vlogging. And today I'm in Armstrong Woods. I'm going to be hiking up to Bullfrog Pond. And so if you hear me panting, it's because it's more or less uphill all the way. And I'm going to talk about numerous things. A lot has changed in my life and in the world since the last time I was vlogging. And I want to get back into it. I don't want to give up on it. And this medium has so much potential. I don't know when and if people are going to get to see this video. My video about the nuclear industry and my song was suppressed on YouTube. And this sort of active suppression from a group of people that really don't want you to know about me and know who I am and what I know about the nature of reality is probably going to continue. There's not a lot I can do about that. But I'm not going to let it stop me. And so I'm going to go ahead and vlog this. I'm not sure how many people are going to get to see this, this battery of things that I'm going to be putting together. But enjoy. If you want to comment, leave a video response. It'd be great to see some of you people. And I'm going to do, hopefully, a few addresses to particular people in this. And I'm going to go over various issues. I'm going to go over the recent events in the news and some of the situations that we're facing. I don't really know how I got into this position, this sort of station that I'm finding myself in with my life. But it's not something that I haven't had an active role in creating, and so I don't want anybody to perceive that that I'm really trying to play the victim in dealing with the things that I'm dealing with. But at the same time, it is what it is, and most of, I think, what happens, most of the bad stuff that happens in our world is because of ignorance. And I don't think that silence is a way to try to combat ignorance. And so I'm going to try to break my silence for a while and try to catch people up on my recent explorations. So I'm going to start off with a topic that is very unique to myself. And I don't know really how this got started or how many people are involved and to what extent. And it's a very, very interesting thing that I seem to be the center of a sort of cult that formed without my direct consent and participation. And while it has participated with me in my life in ways that I'm not completely aware, has nevertheless sort of kept itself hidden, seemingly more by design. And I guess I'm going to start talking about it with a reference to a particular movie and story that is kind of the center of a lot of the twists and turns you see in modern science fiction and sort of fantasy films, contemporary stuff here in the West. And when I saw Batman Forever, it was pretty obvious to me that it was nodding to a very specific challenge that I was trying to face, that I was trying to engage. And I don't know, really, honestly, what the people who were behind the sort of investigation into my investigation. No, I don't know what they know. I don't know a lot. And that makes talking about it very tricky. I don't want to make mistakes. Nevertheless, I think it's sort of vitally important to speak about this. And the story, if you look at the story in the movie, is about this character who creates this device that is capable of reading people's minds by sitting something on top of their television set. And when I was a kid, Batman was one of my first television fascinations. And I had sort of nicknamed myself John Thomas Bryant Jr. Batman Robin Yo-Yo. I think it was I'm almost a year old. I guess I talked at an early age. Sort of unusual things about me sort of stick out. And I had discovered that that device that we use as a television can actually connect conscious thinking processes at a distance directly. And I was investigating how this could be possible. And I had met a new friend who agreed to participate in an experiment that I was using to try to analyze this phenomenon that I refer to as classical raster telepathic conditioning. And this is one of my medium old theories about how the energetic field surrounding the television can be used to classically condition the person who is watching the television show using the electrical infrastructure and signals that the television picture is created with. And this is a very, very highly controversial topic, and something that we may be policing forever because of its pervasive nature in our culture, here in the West especially. And I'm going to bring this around full circle later on in the discussion, later on in this particular vlog, which may run several hours, and talk about the future of the electrical infrastructure as it relates to a sort of Carrington event that could wipe out this technology and its use almost overnight. But for now, I'm going to try to stick to this story. I had just gone through this sort of traumatic realization that this technology existed, and I was sort of exploring it in a very naive way, I guess you might say, and being very open about what I was doing to the people who were around me. And I had very, very limited resources. And here comes this movie that's referencing my discovery. in a sort of knowing way, in a way that alluded to the fact that this is something that isn't being policed, or that maybe is being policed in a very dark way. And there had been an individual who'd come into my life in a very negative way, who was sort of investigating my investigations also. And this person claimed to be a lawyer from California. And I'm not going to mention any names. And there's a character in Batman Forever called Two-Face, who was this lawyer who had acid thrown in his face while Batman was on the stand testifying about something, and turned into a very different character, sort of almost instantaneously. And this is a sort of a spin, a very, very dark spin on what I was dealing with. And Batman meets Robin in this movie, and at the end there's this scene where this guy locked in an asylum claims that he's Batman, the villain in the movie. Tries to tell people that he's Batman, but he's locked in an asylum, so he can't. And it's almost like it was tormenting me in a sense, between the line between Batman, the villains, and the good guys. And it was all very clear to me where that line was and where it should be. And nevertheless, the people who did this, who made this movie, did it in a way as to be tormenting me about, warning me about saying that this is really about me, or that it references my story in any way, which is basically theft. I mean, here you have a franchise, Batman, that is being remade, working with someone else's story. And this is what this cult that I'm referring to is about, I guess. And this is sort of something that's been going on perhaps for a while, and maybe much longer than even my lifetime. I don't know how long Hollywood has been doing this sort of thing. But it doesn't seem to be that the people who are actually doing it, I definitely don't seem to be doing it in my interest. And so, as I'm someone who's has been trying to explore and police these things, it's been a very, very difficult road for me. And other people, perhaps other movie makers, other spies, other people that are members of this cult or whatever, made other shows that some of which I was unaware of, or that I was ignoring, I guess, in the case of Fargate. And Batman Forever was actually following Stargate, which I guess it sort of rhymes with Watergate in its more ironic interpretation, shall we say. And I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it's just so crazy that the government and or Hollywood would operate this way, it seems to me. I mean, it spins back to the fraud about the nature of the moon landing and the world that we've sort of all grown up in since then, with the society harshly divided between the people who know and the people who don't know. And so there's this whole shadow world that tries to keep itself concealed with more shadows.